anyone who's been to the hi-rez Expo or a Smite World Championship will tell you how phenomenal it is. I'm really excited to bring this contest to kind of the viewers at home. We've actually had a lot of people ask about this before, like some contest where they can win a trip. Remember, guys, if you guys didn't catch that, it's going to be a 1-minute video that you need to create stating why you want to come to hi-rez Expo. Now, you go to smitegame.com, and there should be some associated tweets from Smite Game Twitter as well very soon. You can check out that info, how to submit, and kind of the rules and contest details around it. I'm really excited to be able to bring you and a +1 for free to hi-rez Expo to meet and kind of greet all your favorite people in the scene.
You see that end date? It's the 31st. It's Halloween.
31st. So yeah, so submissions are open actually right now. I don't know how you're going to create a video that fast, but be creative about it. Submissions will end October 31st. That's going to be that Halloween. And then, of course, Super Regionals will be the announcement of the winner. So make sure to submit your videos in as soon as possible. But we still have some Smite action going on here. It's Group A land for the SPL. And we have seen Elevate do phenomenal against the teams they faced so far. Not able to close out here. Now it's Sanguine's turn. They're going to be taking on Orbit first. What do they have to do that Elevate was unable to do?
Well, I think the biggest things is that Sanguine actually does have a couple of LAN experienced players.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Murrdurr, who's always been a pretty solid support, and then you have Cherryo, who, let's be honest, he had a pretty crazy. he was a Lanimal. He was definitely a Lanimal when at his last debut.
You can see Xaliea on your screen there. His opponent's going to be Nika. Now, this guy is a rookie, and he's going to be matching up against one of the most tenured players we have in the league. He was known as the best solo laner, besides Game Hunter, I would say, back in Season 0 and kind of the start of Season 1, but kind of dripped a little bit. But we're starting to see Orbit really rise.
Yeah, it's been a while since we were talking about Xaliea being one of the best, and honestly, it's been a while since we were talking about Orbit being one of the best overall, to be honest with you. But here, coming back into this split in this season, both talking to the players personally and then looking from afar, you can tell there's something different about this Orbit lineup. And I hate to be so ambiguous and just say they're more locked in, Kevin. But when it comes down to it, this squad looks just a little bit more motivated.
You know, I got to talk about something there. We saw Nika wave. He's been actually really happy. There's a lot of people who come into land that you're going to know that nerves are going to be a big factor, but it hasn't been an issue for him. He's ready to come and he's ready to brawl against Orbit.
Nika's a great guy. I just met him at LAN as well. He's a good personality for his team as well. Good personality for Smite. In-game as well, he's real good.
Really fun, chill, and down-to-earth guy. I really enjoy playing with him.
I'm just the king of Sanguine in every way. Marketing. I'm the giveaway guy. I'm like the joker on the team. I've got the attitude as well on the team.
Nika? Yeah, he's a friendly guy. I mean, he gets a lot of stick in the solo lane in the EU a little bit, you know, because in ranked and stuff, he's normally getting soloed by some random solo laners from time to time. But yeah, he's a really nice guy. I love Nika.
I think Nika has grown as a player. He's become a lot stronger. I think he has definitely the potential to grow because he's already grown. Because he used to be relatively easy in lane, and now he's actually becoming a challenge. I think he can grow from that as well.
Nika, if you get sold by him, you have to be ashamed.
Used to be relatively easy in lane, but he's kind of stepped up. Strong words from Xaliea here. What are your thoughts on Nika heading into this matchup?
I can semi-agree with Xaliea in that when he first came into the SPL, he seemed like he had a difficult time with the majority of the solo laners from EU. But he's definitely progressed as a player overall, both mechanically and just organized with his team. And I think that with that experience that he's garnered from the SPL so far, I think he's going to bring it to this LAN, and I think he's definitely ready to fight.
What's really impressed me is the speed of which that he's done that. A lot of times we see players come in and it takes them an entire split, and then the next split they come in and they're a little bit more tenured. Nika has been able to do this in what seems like just a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Really quick turnaround for this, and what you saw in the video is pretty much what we got here. Speaking to Nika himself, just a really confident attitude. Those land nerves that we were talking about, Absolutely not. He's just excited to be here.
And Nika, man, this kid is a true rookie. We're not even talking Season 3 rookie. I'm pretty sure this has been his first split playing, and he only had a couple weeks of the online stages to prepare. Now going up against debatably the best team in Europe. I know you said that yourself, Taco. A lot of people are talking. Energy seems to be slipping right now, and it's going to be a hard-fought battle here. We're into picks and bans for Game 1, though. Already, Kuang first picked.
That doesn't really surprise me. I mean, it's something that QVO is definitely comfortable on, and the fact is, Sanguine went ahead and took away the Susano, so I think Orbit are really just looking for more of that late game kind of pressure that they've seemed to have been applying in their first set against Elevate. I think they want to try and implement the same strategy against Sanguine.
A little bit surprised to see this Athena ban, though. Not something you see too often. Athena kind of not even thought of as a top support anymore. Kind of like, okay, everything else is banned, or maybe this comp works around it, but immediately shuts.
I mean, there's been a lot of rumbles about different things that Sanguine want to play. We've seen a lot of creativity come out of some of the North American players, most notably Weekend with the Athena jungle and some of the flexibility there. Sanguine with players like Cherryo, TheDarkDodo, and Nika, these guys are known to be very flexible, so there is something kind of just where Orbit want to make sure that they have all their bases covered.
Oh, well, I actually like the Athena ban coming out from Orbit, considering that it's one of Murrdurr's go-to picks. It's something that he kind of made his name on when he was back in Season 0 with Titan. And so I think it's definitely a good decision by them.
Sanguine, their first part of the draft, going to be the Vulcan and Ares, and then a Batz as well, so a lot of teamfight control coming out from them. On the other side, Orbit drafting that Fafnir. We know objectives, a big talking point with this god, and that Isis for early pressure.
Yeah, I'm not really certain how Sanguine plan to really combat the whole Fafnir Isis, because they're Orbit's definitely making up for that late game or that early game lack from the Kuang by bringing in the Fafnir Isis. That early aggression is going to be really crucial, I think, in combating the Ares Vulcan.
It's the double ults, right? It's that Isis ult along with Fafnir, obviously, Draconic Form, and then the AoE cores, and it's something that Sanguine are going to have to be ready for at those early Gold Furies.
One of the things that I do like here on the individual basis, as the team kind of fleshes out with the second round of picks, we'll be able to talk a little bit more about it as the Jingwei ban comes out. But for Sanguine, I'm already really liking the individual choices. Batz on Cherryo, we're talking a lot about how this guy's expected to step up. Sometimes that can get into your head. Batz is a character that doesn't have a lot of precision involved, so it's an excellent job for him to come on from high ping to zero ping. Nice character to sort of ease in there. And Ares, Taco, you were talking about how Athena has been one of Murrdur's sort of brand gods. Ares, absolutely one of those as well. So I'm expecting a lot out of Murrdurr.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. And I think another important thing as well is that the Ares with the Batz is a pretty hand-in-hand comp that you want to be running, because you have one or the other to burn actives on Orbit, and then that completely sets up Vulcan with either of them being able to pull in either from the Ares or with that Batz spreading out with the ult. Either way, it's easy setup for Vulcan.
I'm looking, I got to talk about Cherryo and Batz. We didn't really talk about him too much. A lot of focus on Nika early on, but this kid is a Lanimal. We saw he plays from Egypt on like 130 plus ping, like no FPS. And when he comes to land, he's a different player. And Batz has kind of been one of his gods.
Hey, that Panican? I don't think so. We got an Artemis here for Orbit. I mean, when it comes down to it, everything seems pretty normal except for the Artemis.
This looks like an enemy draft. Like, if you just told me, guess who this team is, I would have said enemy here. Last pick going to be tier. Really quick thoughts, Orbit or Sanguine, Taco?
I'd have to go with Orbit, honestly. It's just, that looks like a dominant comp for the early game.
Tom?
Exactly. If you ask me about the individual teams, I'm going to say Orbit overall, but I like the draft from Sanguine. I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think.
I'm gonna see an upset, I think, in this set. I don't know if it's going to be game 1 or game 2, but I really like Sanguine's comp. I think they're going to be a little bit hesitant coming into this one, but they're going to pull it out somehow. We're going to go over to the casters for game 1. Hindu and Tully, take it away.
Thank you, Kevin, and analysts as well. Tully, we've got a great set for this one as well. Obviously, the boys of Orbit here have a 2-0 already. Sanguine's first time on the stage.
They're feeling really confident right now on the boys of Orbit, but Sanguine right now, they really need to figure out a way to get these games off of Orbit. They don't want to fall into the same exact trap that Elevate did.
Now, talk to me a little bit as well about Cherryo and how LAN is. You've been a LAN player yourself before. What is the ping situation? Everyone always talks about ping being a big issue. Cherryo has stepped up when he's had low ping. What does it bring to you?
Well, fortunately enough, I didn't have to deal with the 130 ping that Cherryo had to deal with, but either way, there's definitely a significant notice of difference between playing online and playing on LAN. You know, at East Coast servers, it had about anywhere between 30 to 60 ping, given the central servers or not, but it was such a big difference coming to LAN. You play on such high FPS and such low ping. You can play any guy that you really want and feel confident about landing those skill shots.
That was going to be my next question. Is there certain gods that excel on LAN because you've got lower ping and better FPS?
Well, Tyr is definitely one of them. Naja, known for Cherryo specifically. He's always been known for this, but surprisingly enough, it wasn't picked or banned this game.
Now, I'm worried a little bit for Cherryo here because everybody's been touting him as a Lanimal, and I've got to back F that up. But the problem with that sort of thing is that, you know, when the pressure's on you, you might not perform at the level everyone's expecting you to do so because the standards are so high.
Well, despite all that, I still think that Cherryo is a great individual player, even on the online stages. Despite his team not having the same amount of success as his own individual, it's up to him to really kind of carry this team on his shoulders. And I expect him to show a lot of stuff compared to last year also.
And Sanguine here do have 3 rookies at LAN. Nika, TheDarkDodo in the mid lane, and Arkkyl in the Haunter position. Wasn't mentioned by the analyst though, but that Ho Yi pick is only really been picked up to deal with QvoFred's Kuang.
I would say so. That's a great counter. Market the Golden Crow is going to be able to spot out whenever the Water Illusion is used for QvoFred, and it's a good idea to try to shut him down because we saw what he was able to do the last set, the second game when he picked up the Kuang. He went 5-0 before finally having his first F.
And Arkkyl here, well, he's going to have an interesting time. Got soloed, sorry, they got first blooded the last time these two faced off against each other. It was back in week 2, and actually Orbit took a 2 over Sanguine back then.
So right now, just normal starts, nothing to talk about, I would say, except the difference of relic choices between these supports. Ares electing to go for Shell. I like this idea, having the team fight relic of Shell over the Blink initiation.
And actually look at the composition coming out from Orbit here. Isis in the mid lane here. A couple of things were available for Lawbster to go to here that we've seen him go to a little bit more often. But with the Kuang, it seems that he wanted to make sure they had a little bit more lane dominance there in that mid lane.
You're going to need to have an early aggressive mid god paired up with the Kuang, especially one that has a lot of CC of Isis. You have the Spirit Ball stun, you have the silence, which also slows.
And on top of that, you've also got Fafnir played by Trixtank this game. Not something we've seen too much of as of late. It's not been banned, not been picked randomly, but all of a sudden, we see it picked up, and an Artemis is going to be joining it in the duo lane.
Well, it's going to be good for the late game potential, boosting up an Artemis attack speed, who already has a steroid in her kit to give her even more. But look at this in the solo lane, Nika getting very low.
Well, Xaliea was saying beforehand, he's not that simple to deal with in lane anymore. And, well, to be fair to him, he was level 2 then, so didn't have the sustain until just hitting level 3 then.
And that's the one issue that Tyr falls into. But Nika, he's still getting chased down. He might be first blooded here.
He's in a lot of trouble because he's not in the right part of town right now. Gonna get a bit of sustain, good fearless combo, but will the archers come in? They won't, and he gets away, limps away to fight another day.
Xaliea missed the Umbrella Ring after finding the knockup, dropping first blood uncharacteristically.
Well, 6 seconds time, and that's where we saw first blood last time round these two faced off, but don't think it will be the case here, although it was in the duo lane, and the pressure on Murrdurr is here. The trap is down, the shell too, the body box coming through from Arkkyl though, and a meditate from Trixtank makes this trade end.
Relic for relic trade in the duo lane right now. Trixtank setting up Funballer for that first blood. The stun into the trap is the combination that they're really relying on, especially when they're trying to pick off an Ares before his protections come online with that second ability.
Xaliea level 5 here, still bullying Nika, and a full wave for him to deal with here. Should hit level 5 himself off this wave, but he's going to be very close because Xaliea did get those 5 elementals as well, but he does ding 5.
Funballer is just so aggressive. He does not care the fact that he doesn't have an escape because the mid lane right now, they're so aggressive on the side of Orbit that there's no worry about any sort of gank in the duo.
And this denial in the mid lane means Cherryo just hit 5 a little bit later than that of QvoFred and the Kuang. Kuang just going to be looking to farm up for the most part and then maybe join the fight a little bit later in the early stages.
And he's trying to survive the early game by going into the Dynasty Blade helmet. He doesn't really want to get bursted down by Cherryo, who could rely on those passive in-hand crits that would be very problematic for QvoFred.
Now, do we want to see Cherryo maybe look for some pressure on duo lane here? Obviously, with having an Ares here as well, with Fear No Evil, with no escape, they could really focus down Funballer, but he does have 2 ways to CC immune.
Exactly. This draft from Sanguine was very smart to have a bunch of these purification burners between the Batz ult, the Ares ultimate, even the Tyr Fearless is a great burner. So the fact that Funballer has that CC immune ulti and the purification is going to allow him to survive if Cherryo ever shows up.
Well, second rotation of buffs is respawn, and Kuvo's going to get his speed buff solo in it, so it will give him a little bit more experience in gold by not joining in with his teammates there. Lawbster and his duo lane will go over and pick up that red.
So a very slow start, I would say, for this game compared to the second and the first set. All these first games of these sets are just about a bit of a waiting game to see who's going to make that first aggressive step.
Does this work out in Orbit's favor, though? I mean, they've got a lot later game composition here, and Sanguine, their first opportunity on the stage. I think this feels like Orbit planned this, knowing that Sanguine would probably play passive in the early stages.
Exactly the same way they played the first game against Elevate. They were just very confident that their late game would be able to carry them through the stages of the game. So like we mentioned before, having this Artemis, having this Fafnir sets them up so well in the late game.
Well, Lawbster a little bit risky going there. I wondered if Cherryo was going to jump in, but lower mana he was, so he couldn't follow the monkey toss there. Right Harpies go the way of Orbit, left ones to Sanguine here. So gold difference between the two is around 600 at the moment.
And right now teams are going to start back into base to pick up some of their items. Artemis gonna finish off the Ninja Tabby, giving her a lot of additional attack speed so she can get that passive stacked up a little bit more, relying on those in-hand crits.
I was going to say as well, we've seen a little bit more Ninja Tabby coming out. Surprised Artemis is doing it though, just because she's going to have Fafnir buff and her own personal steroid too. But maybe the first gank of the game is here. I said that, but he's on a ward, is QvoFred.
Great wards coming out on the side of Sanguine, being able to spot out the early rotation from QvoFred. And normally you're not expecting the jungler to gank the solo lane, so the fact that you have the Kuang right here is going to be very interesting for Orbit, just to see if they can snowball Xaliea, because already he has this 1-level lead without any gank.
And the funny thing is we see Trixtank looking for the hammer there, not going to be able to find it, unfortunately, onto Arkkyl. But when you get to land, wards seem to become a new thing that all teams realize and ward a hell of a lot more.
It's time for teams to start really trying hard right now. They don't want to get caught with their pants down, so having these wards at these crucial pathings is going to keep them alive right now, and not allowing QvoFred already to get the same kind of start that he had in the last game without Kuang is putting Sanguine in a really good spot. The only problem is they need to make some plays.
We're looking for a play mid, hammer time onto Dodo there, but Dodo's not worried about Fafnir either from Cherryo. Going to deny QvoFred from collapsing and putting some more pressure on his mid lane Vulcan.
Purification was burned for QvoFred, so that could be an opportunity now for Sanguine to try to look for him in the jungle with speed buff respawning in about a minute.
Well, Xalia's a little bit out of position here, going to get Fearless out of his dash away, and lower mana has ultimate. Will have to force it, but he was too late. Cherryo looked like a very cheeky crit with what he looks like he's building there into the Hydra Star.
That's such a good item for the Batz right now, but in the mid lane, Trixtank gonna miss the stun, but either way, like we mentioned, the Hydra Star is gonna synergize very well with Cherryo playing this Batz, modifying off of his passive in-hand crit.
And the main thing of that, obviously, it gives you cooldown reduction as well, bit of power, but not only that, it infuses your next auto attack after using the ability with more damage.
If that ability,
crits as well.
If that next in-hand crits after the ability was used, then kills like this in the solo lane become very easy, especially right now before any sort of protections or health come online for Xaliea.
Well, the Lanimals back for now. Sanguine get off to a good start through. Cherryo and then gank on the right-hand side there. And Trixtank and his teammates of Orbit just going to rotate round towards the speed and the fire elementals once more.
So right now, it's going to be very important to get some more wards around the solo lane for Xaliea to spot out these rotations, especially with speed buff respawn. We still see that the purification is down for QvoFred, so Sanguine, they could start grouping up and look for this play. Murrdurr's right around the corner.
Yeah, but he doesn't have Blink though, so it's not going to be that easy for him to pressure. As Dodo in mid lane, forced to purify away from the Spirit Ball there. Opportunity for Orbit to pressure onto Vulcan as well now.
Trixtank seems to always be in the right place at the right time that he needs to. The fact that he was able to burn the purification just from that one stun is going to allow Orbit to make a kind of aggressive play here on the right side mid Harpies.
Trix did a good job with that hammer there, just denying Cherryo from trying to jump in there. Had Fear no evil available. Right, and Harpies do go the way of Sanguine by the looks of it there, as they were contested between the two, and Cherryo coming towards mid again.
It seems that Orbit is very calculating about when they want to aggress. If they land these stuns, then they're going to commit. Otherwise, they're going to completely back off and then just wait for a better opportunity. And that's something you really want to do, like we mentioned, with these late game gods.
Yeah, overall, it's just an easy farm up for Sanguine for the time being. Orbit will be happy with this as well. And we mentioned wards in the solo lane, you know, overall, and the lack of wards. These two solo laners have the least wards in Europe placed overall. So seeing them actually come out of base multiple times with wards is really impressive to me, and hilarious that the differences LAN brings to the game.
Well, it's do or die, and now it's do or die on the left-hand side as ultimates are traded between Funballer and Arkkyl, and both of these two are very known for their aggressive play styles. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some more skirmishes later.
What's the build you see coming out of Funballer here, do you expect? Obviously, we see the Ninja Tabby. Are we expecting some lifesteal coming out of somewhere? If so, is it Devourer's Gauntlets? Is it Bloodthirster? Is it, you know, something else that could happen?
I would expect to see an early Aussie coming out of him. We see an early Aussie coming out of Arkkyl. Now, you want to get the penetration and the lifesteal, and the cheapest, most affordable one is definitely Aussie. And having that power spike right now, with the attack speed bonus that you get from Fafnir's Coerce is something you really want to invest to if you're going to try to sneak these Gold Furies.
Well, he's not going to go for lifesteal now. Looks like an execution, maybe the first Inferno. Evil in mid though on Lawbster. Going to force out no purification as Lawbster just held onto it there in the mid lane. Wisely done from the experienced mid of Orbit.
A lot of patience from Granddaddy Lawbster, as we like to call him. And we see the two of them on your screen right now versus DarkDodo. The GPM difference between these two, you just get to see the experience true between Lawbster and Dodo.
And that damage there is the average damage per game overall from these two. I know at the same time, Lawbster is the highest in mid lane out of everybody in the European scene here. So Lawbster gets in there, does well overall, and his average win-loss as well.
Nice little stun onto Murrdurr, not allowing Lawbster to get chained. This is something that you really want to do, is not allow this support who's building into shoes of the Magi just to get more penetration, to get in position to find those chains. If you get poked out, this could give Sanguine an opportunity to sneak a Gold Fury.
Now, Gold Fury is a very interesting point as well, because you do have Isis available with the Circle of Protection, but at the same time, you've got Vulcan from DarkDodo. Both of those can make an impact, and talking about making an impact, Murrdurr was looking for the chains, and instead he meets Hammer Time, and it's Admiral Akbar trap, forcing out the no escape from Murrdurr, and there's the boar, stunning Murrdurr in place again. The dot damage is too much. Funballer gets first kill, and Arkkyl thinking about trading back, but after that crit says no, 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 he'll walk away.
Great synergy from Funballer and Trixtank, coordinating for that. Everything needed to go perfectly there. The stun into the trap, getting more poke, and then waiting till the very last millisecond for Funballer to get the CC immunity and hit Murrdurr during the no escape.
Yeah, because the Hide of Virgin being worked on by Trixtank there. Murrdurr had gone for the Vanguard, knowing that he was going to get focused a little bit more in the early game. Even used the shell there. Wasn't enough to deal with the CC chain that came out from the two of them.
I'm surprised that it's Trixtank not going for Mark of the Vanguard, just to be able to deal with all that damage over time coming out of Murrdurr. Instead, he's expecting that the team fight out of Orbit is going to be so much more successful that he's going to be able to easily stack it up in this early mid game.
And once again, you see she was a focus by Trixtank here. We're looking for the cooldown of Xaliea. Looking for a cheeky steal away. Not going to go for it though once he sees the monkey turn up.
You definitely don't want to allow a tier to get in a position to snowball out of control, because at this point, you as a Vamana are going to be sitting in the lane as long as possible. You're relying on your late game build to really carry you through. And if you're ever left alone long enough, you're going to be easily able to get the tower.
Pretty good situation for Sanguine to be in, though, for the early stages. You know, your first game at the LAN, you want to try and take it easy and go slow, but as we keep saying, Orbit are happy with this as well, with their composition.
And right now, it's just Gold Fury not being contested by either team right now. They just want to wait for somebody to misstep. It's a battle of the Century Wars heading at the 11-minute mark with Orbit about a 1,000 gold lead.
The biggest problem I see for both teams is their actual engage. I mean, overall here, you're looking at Cherryo having to jump in, or you're looking at Trixtank having to land a hammer. There's no actual full-on engage from these two teams just yet, unless someone dives all the way in. Maybe if we see Murrdurr get the blink at level 12, we'll see a little bit more. And once QvoFred is flying, and he's also got that blink, we could see a bit more action.
The Sanguine, they're feeling confident enough to push the tier 1 in mid-tower. They're going to respect the rotation coming out of Xaliea that was pinged out earlier on and backing off.
I wonder if we'll see Cherryo go for blink as well. We do see Nika has picked it up as well here, but they're going to be lacking a few relics in terms of defensive options that we've seen out of teams before.
And just both of these teams really want to get something going. Nice little stun onto Dodo. Trixtank is waiting to jump over the left side wall, but neither team wanting to fully commit. Dodo's going to back, though.
And Trixtank will go around the corner and find 3, misses hammer, and jump away with the underhanded tactics.
But he did see the fact that Dodo did back to base, and this could allow him to maybe at least get the Sentry Ward, if not force a Gold Fury. Instead, a lot of patience coming out of Orbit, not wanting to take the bite quite yet.
Smart back from Dodo there, though. Gets him level 12 so he can get his relic online as well, ready for the Gold Fury fight that will ensue eventually if one team makes a misstep.
So Funballer on the left-hand side, he's still waiting for that right opportunity with Trixtank coming from the backside. I think that they were planning on ganking, but instead they're going to be leaning more towards the mid-action. They're feeling very confident that the synergy between the Spirit Ball and QvoFred can find an easy execute.
And I think the big key here is maybe I'm seeing Lawbster land more Spirit Balls than Trixtank is landing hammers. If Lawbster gets the Spirit Ball off first, Trixtank can follow that up with a hammer and put more pressure on, but pressure is on Arkkyl right now.
The stun comes out, the damage is real, the execute wasn't even necessary, and Funballer credited with the kill. Even Purification being burned by Arkkyl.
Exactly, he did use Purification anyway, but it's still not needed over there, I guess, with that ultimate. QvoFred actually still has his ultimate available as well, so win-win for Orbit as they get a kill. Trixtank slightly out of position here, but has backup coming.
He wants to be able to find a kill onto either Dodo or for Murrdurr, but it looks like Lawbster gets the kill. Circuit protection being used, and that's going to be another dead member from Sanguine. 3 kills in the last minute for Orbit. Now they're going to be heading towards the gold.
Turning up the pressure all of a sudden around this 13, 12, 30 minute mark. Now with the Golf Fury going down here, I don't think Sanguine can look to contest. They're not. Instead, they will strip away the speed buff. Blue's not available just yet, so they might find a small win, but it's not much of one when you look at the state of the game.
Such great play, I would say, from Orbit right now. They're trying to synergize, you know, Fafnir, Isis combination. Despite Fafnir not landing these hammers like you mentioned before, the fact that Lawbster is throwing these spirit balls through the wall is hard for Sanguine to really hear it coming, which is why he's getting a lot of damage off.
And you just see QvoFred come back from base with Polynomicon, and the focus is on the Monkey, who's forced to blink away after taking it as a second relic, and that tier 1 tower on the right will be defended.
Nice little calculated play from Orbit. They thought that they can find somebody slipping out of position, but a great blink coming out of Cherryo. Not going to really find anything in the solo lane.
Totally, this is like the multiple Warlock Sash I've seen coming out from these boys today. We saw it in the earlier games as well, but more and more Warlock Sashes are coming out in the mid lane now. This is just more for survivability than anything, right?
You want to be able to survive that initial burst damage coming out of Dodo between the meatball and his ultimate. As long as you have circle protection on the ground and you have enough of a large health pool, you're going to be healed back up, almost to full.
Meanwhile, on the left-hand side now, Funballer, Trixtank will get there in time for that wave to stop it going to the tower, all being well. And that's all he's after doing is QvoFred will soak it. Funballer's got to make a decision. That's the worst thing. It's like, I want the experience from the boars, but I also want this wave not going into tower.
So we were discussing Funballer's build early on, what he was going to go into. It's going to be the chin size immediately after that Ninja Tabby, which gives him a lot of flexibility for what kind of lifesteal he really wants to go for.
I mean, you've got crit in the build anyway, you know, just because of your passive, and then on top of that, you've also got attack speed in this as well. Trixtank coming mid, looking to defend the tier 1 tower with the help of Lawbster here. Obviously, Wingust will just clear the wave in full, and with even Xaliea showing his face, Sanguine will rotate away.
And they have to be really careful with this rotation from Xaliea in the mid lane. Level 16 Vamana. This is the point in time where he goes into the big baby form and he can easily zone out all your squishies.
And on that Frostbound Hammer picked up as well, so that's going to give him a lot more slow and sustain to be able to just keep them busy on the back line and allow his team to look to initiate.
And QvoFred getting a lot of poke onto Cherryo in the back line, so that's going to allow Orbit to really continue sieging this tier 1 mid tower, but it's going to be Arkkyl making the rotation first.
Yeah, Arkkyl is wandering over, thinking about it for the time being, but definitely worried about where Funballer is too. As Funballer just steps on that ward there, Arkkyl knows exactly where he is, and all the pressure at the moment seems to be Orbit trying to siege up a little bit more in this mid lane.
Left-hand side, Arkkyl against Funballer. Seems that Funballer is looking like he's trying to trade, but he doesn't have the lifesteal. He has chin size into the Titan's Bane, which is great against tanks, but not so good against the Hunter battles.
I'm pretty sure Arkyl's not aware of exactly where QvoFred was, but Nika will find out he's here in his lane instead. The Lawbring is already down, the ultimate is out, it won't get the kill, but they should be able to clean this up under the tier 1 tower.
Great play, and very well calculated because Gold Fury is not available for Sanguine to sneak at this opportunity. In left-hand side, Funballer getting poked up, but in middle, Lawbster's getting focused on.
Getting a Purify very early there, the Monkey Toss not going to connect. Downtown ultimate won't be on the mark. Sanctuary is ready for Lawbster if he needed it anyway, so he'll just walk straight back to base.
So overall, just killing the tier on the right-hand side. Xalia's going to get credited with that tier 1 tower in the solo lane, slowly but surely extending the goal lead for Orbit.
This is so much better from Orbit after that first set we saw against Elevate here. A little bit more controlled. They know what they're supposed to be doing. The only problem they've got is if they do stuff like this as they did against Elevate 2 and give them windows to get back in.
Yeah, Trixtank definitely didn't expect 3 people when he jumped over that wall, but he tests his defense. This is kind of like a DPS check right now for him. It's like, all right, how much damage can I really take from you guys before the next team fight?
I guess that's okay, especially when, you know, Gold Fury's down, there's nothing up in your jungle to take. If you're going to die at any time stupidly, you die there.
You might as well, because, yeah, the Gold Fury is down, like you mentioned before. So, Orbit, they're kind of in the driver's seat right now. They're up 4,000 gold, heading into the 17.5 minute mark. Their next plan of action is trying to probably ward around this Gold Fury and catch more members from Sanguine kind of slip.
I'm kind of looking at the Sanguine cameras there in the bottom right-hand corner, and most of them look pretty downtrodden right now. I guess they're not. This isn't the way they wanted this game to go to start off with here at all.
No, not at all. A lot of these teams seem to be really patient in their first game of the day, but now is not the time to be patient against Orbit. You have to be looking for the plays because, like we mentioned, their late game is just so scary. You've been drafting a composition that's relying on burning these purifications between Cherryo, Murrdurr, and Nika, and I just don't see the execution quite yet out of Sanguine.
Is this the problem, though, Tori, that when these teams come to LAN for their first game, they're drafting early game compositions and then utilizing them, and then opposition who've been around before, experienced this, they go for later ones, knowing these are going to be longer games.
It's just the patience from Orbits have been so successful, and they're the ones that could also play aggressive. Cherryo forced to use a Purification there. That's going to allow Orbit to continue onto the aggression now.
I think Purification's a better choice there, just because Gold Fury is about to come up, and that Fear No Evil going to be very, very important for that. But blinking mid from Murrdurr, going to get the no escape off on Lawbster, who gets pulled in, but Circle of Protection and Sanctuary keeps him alive. Nika over with the Lawbringer, not enough damage, just round the back from the boys of Orbit 2. The big baby's beaten down, and Trix picks up Dodo. Next up is Nika, as in the sky is the mighty dragon. Only 3 members left, make that 2, as the boys of Orbit start looking for the Tier 1 tower.
3 for nothing for Orbit. They're going to be credited with that Tier 1 mid tower. The question is, what do they want to do afterwards? They have so many options between Tier 2 Gold Fury, and it looks like they want to be trying to extend this coerce, the AoE coerce from Trixtank. So they're going to get this Tier 2 for free, and hell, they can even go for Gold Fury after this.
And maybe they will do. Trixtank going to come out of their ultimate. Cherryo choosing to go to the right-hand side here. He will get a Tier 1 tower in response. Actually, scratch that. Xaliea will teleport over and make sure the monkey gets up to no business.
With Cherryo being older on the right-hand side, the only person to possibly defend this is going to be Arkkyl, but he's not going to be wanting to take that risk in a 4v1 position. Now Orbit gets the Gold Fury. They're going to be about almost 10,000 gold, not even the 20-minute mark.
Really good start for Orbit here. And, well, this is the problem for Sanguine now. Obviously, they came bottom of the SPL, number 4 in this Group A overall coming into this. A lot of teams had high hopes for them. Ataraxia, who I know has been scrimming these boys from the side of Obey, said these guys are looking pretty dangerous, and don't be surprised if they come up big. Well, game 1, they're struggling.
It's still really early in the weekend, though. It's still only the first game of the day. They still have 3 more to play after this, and then they still have 8 more to go between Saturday and Sunday. And I wouldn't be surprised, like we mentioned before, just how successful Cherryo has been the last year during the Super Regionals if he just turns up.
That's true, but at the same time, like, everybody knows and expects him to turn up, so they know to keep an eye on Cherryo. You know someone's going to go big, you keep him in check. You know someone's going to play bad, you beat the crap out of him even more and abuse it.
Well, Sanguine, they're going to have to figure out a way to deal with Orbit right now, because that's going to be their strongest competition in this group. They've only had 2 splits, not even a single loss in their sets. And this is a good testing grounds for Sanguine just to see where they really stand.
Well, they're a little bit further ahead than where they were in against Elevate in Game 2 here, Orbit. But at this point, Orbit kind of felt themselves a little bit too much and made some mistakes. They're starting the Fire Giant as Arkkyl is on the left-hand side looking for a Tier 1 tower. But it looks like the zone duty from Orbit is good enough with Circle of Protection. Now can Cherryo get it in time? Gonna throw the monkey, look for the steal, but no, Orbit will get the Fire Giant.
Great zoning from Trixtank and Xaliea. It's going to go into the big baby form. He's zoning out 3 members.
Wow.
The ulti is just tickling him. It's not going to matter because Murrdurr dies as well. 2 members dead. Nika has to Lawbringer away. Meanwhile, left-hand side, Arkyl's pushing, but they don't care. They're going to get the Tier 2 of their own.
And they can even look for a Phoenix here as well. 3 diving in deep for Nika in the back, who's still alive. Running towards his Titan. Titan, help me, he says. And the Titan doesn't care. Nika is down as well. The Phoenix can now be looked at as Xaliea returns to base to help out Lawbster and maybe help out against Cherryo as well.
A great little stun onto Lawbster. They're successful in defending the left side Tier 2 tower, and at the same time, Orbit they got the right-hand Phoenix, they got the middle Phoenix, and they're successfully defending their Tier 2 towers at the same time. Orbit have been so successful objectively this game.
Yeah, level 18 on Cherryo here. He has got a bit of farm to his name, but he's not able to make anything happen as the boys are actually trying to collapse onto him here from all angles. Look at where Orbit are. They're doing red buff from one angle. Xaliea was hunting for him, and Cherryo's going to walk into 2, and Funballer immediately turns around and goes, hello.
Oh, I don't think he got spotted out because QvoFred did not cancel out his back, and it seems that obviously Funballer doesn't want to take the 1v1 right now. He doesn't really want to risk his life for something that's not worth it, because getting those 2 Phoenixes early on and still having Fire Giant and all these 5 members, it's not even worth it to overextend because you have a certain timer on that Fire Giant buff, and you want to use it to maximum efficiency.
This looks a little bit more like the #1 team coming out of Europe here, though, for Group A as well. I spoke to him before, and I said, you must be quite happy with this group, and he went, hey, yeah, we are, but we damn well worked for it this split. We wanted #1 because we deserve an easier way to Super Regionals.
They're so focused right now, and their drafts and compositions are very difficult to really read right now. Who would have thought that Funballer would bring out the Artemis at LAN?
But is that to combine with Fafnir as well as against an Ares? Is it just a certain comp style? Is the reason they've done this?
There could have been a lot of other options for Funballer coming. On her it was banned, Cronus was banned, so there wasn't, you know, those CC immune ultis that Funballer likes to play necessarily, so you would have to be relying on maybe Rom in the late game.
Okay.
So instead, he was going for the Artemis.
Cherryo overhand smashed and gets smashed in the face by QvoFred there. The rest of his team of Orbit are now sieging this left-hand Phoenix, but that turret causing a few issues, which is good work from Dodo there at the moment. At the moment, player damage, you can see, it's all Xaliea and Funballer in this game.
These late game carries trying to force out the purification out of Arkkyl. Still eating the damage though. Nika finding a nice little Fearless, but here comes Fear No Evil.
And now they're going to dive in very deep, but the Phoenix is already dead, so less damage coming off. Xalia's a bit low, but will reach on the backside as Trix goes diving in again. Looking at the carry's going to force Lawbringer out as well from Nika defensively. Rampage for Funballer now, 12-1 right now, and they're looking at the Titan. It's down to 50% in a moment, but they've not got minions here, and it looks like Orbit going to reset for a moment.
They're going to be able to pick off Arkkyl in the process. They're waiting for these fire minions to start flooding it before they really go for the last Phoenix
For the
siege.
Coerce and an Artemis won't take him too long, but Cherryo going to the back will draw their attention for a moment. Doing a good job of Sanguine of denying the Titan falling, but I think it's a little bit too late for that, boys and girls. Only TheDarkDodo stands alone, and if he's not careful, he'll be made extinct once more.
15-1, Orbit getting the first game of the set. Just great dominant performance, and this is what we truly expect such out of seasoned veterans.
Clean, calm, calculated from those boys of Orbit there. A lot different from the second game against Elevate there. That's what you'll be looking for out of them. And for that, it shows that they prepped. And that's the one thing they did going back last year to Super Regionals. They overlooked a lot of teams at LAN. Dignitas was one of them, and they nearly got beaten by them. This time round, though, respecting every single opposition.
But they didn't respect the fact that Cherryo does have a Naja. They left it open on purpose. I guarantee you this. They want the Naja to be picked in that position so that they have a counter strategy. So if Sanguine kind of leans for the strategy, I expect Orbit to be prepared.
Sanguine going to have a long, hard think after that first game now about what they need to change up, because kind of felt like Orbit had them in their pocket the whole game. They had an understanding where Sanguine might go with their picks and bans here and how they were going to play it.
But look at this. Orbit is not phased. They're still really focused for game number 2.
Very important for them to get 6 points today. They have a chance to put the pressure onto Dignitas to keep pace. Let's find out, though, how Artemis and the analysts feel about that first game from Orbit.
I feel like that was the cleanest game we've seen at this tournament. Maybe the cleanest game we'll see in kind of all 4 stages of these lands, all the groups. That was an incredibly one-sided affair, and shout-outs to me, from me. Shout-outs to me, shout-outs to me, guys. Shout-outs to QvoFred and Trixtank there. Trixtank going 2-0 and 13, 100% kill participation. Right behind him, Qvo at 3-0 and 10. I think he was not a part of a single kill. Like, he was a part of every kill but one. So those two really just kind of ran the show.
Yeah, I don't even really know what to say. I don't think that Sanguine were honestly expecting that much early pressure to be coming out from Orbit, but just from the get-go, they were packing punches, they were coming ready to fight, and which was really surprising to me considering that Cherryo actually got the first blood
onto Xaliea.
And so you would think that maybe they'd be able to play off of that and get some momentum going, but
we did see the pressure and the ganks onto the left-hand side of the map trying to get control of that Artemis in the early game, but it just didn't work for them. They just lost those fights.
This was an example of, like you said, they lost the fights against the Artemis, even early game. This is a prime example of sometimes all of the analysis that you can do about picks and bans and strategy and composition and all well and good, just throw it away. When it comes down to it, I think Orbit was just a stronger team here. They had no business winning the early game. They did it anyway. 21 minutes on the clock. That's not a game that you win with an Artemis in the long lane, but Orbit said, who cares? We're just going to do it. And that's exactly what they did.
And Sanguine, I think, came very prepped. They brought their coach, who is not an EU player, so he wasn't part, like, they paid for this guy to come to them. And I think they came ready and prepared for picks and bans and, like, a strategic game, where on the other side, the other team we saw, Elevate, was kind of just no preparation, no shot caller, no coach. Let's just fight. And Elevate doing a much better job.
Here's Funball, and like I said, this Artemis, he's level 11. He has really no business winning this team fight, but him and Trixtank just absolutely force it to happen. No movement abilities to get out of the stuns. Still pushes forward, wins the team fight, gets the kill with Tusky.
Taco, is